Axios ran a story on how getting the water out of the hydrants in Pacific Palisades was more complicated than it seems. I'm sure it's very complicated. That's why I pay 13% of my income in this state every year to people who I assumed were working on things like this. You know what the absolute worst thing for the environment is? Wildfires. A 22 study found that the smoke from just the two in 2020 wiped out 18 years of carbon reduction in the state, which means we suffered the pain of driving those early model Priuses for nothing. California is the place that spends money and gets nothing, which is why you may have noticed when the fires broke out, no one escaped by high-speed rail.
That's political commentator and liberal broken clock Bill Maher triggering Democrats and establishment media shills by holding incompetent California officials accountable for the disastrous LA fires. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it looks like liberals haven't learned anything from their humiliating election loss because they seem intent on attacking anyone with a shred of sanity remaining in their base. Here's Bill Maher causing a firestorm online because he made the outrageous demand that his tax dollars be used wisely.
Yes, undeniably true that LA is built in a stupid place to build a city. When asked why so many of the hydrants in the Palisades ran out of water, Governor Newsom said the local folks are trying to figure that out. Yeah, you got to do that before the fire. I've heard people say, do you want to pay more taxes to fund this? No, I want you to use the exorbitant taxes you already collect to prioritize it. We have the highest marginal tax rate in America, higher than almost all other states, and soon Greenland. What is included for that? Breadsticks? Because it clearly doesn't cover fire. That's government's job. Protect us from crime, violence, theft, fire. At least in the Palisades, the hydrants were still there. 300 other ones around the city are just gone, stolen for parts. One of the 3 reservoirs for the Palisades was offline at the one time of year when it was most needed. LA's Mayor Karen Bass, the Nero of American politics, was fiddling in Ghana while the city burned and later placed the blame on 8 months of negligible rain and winds that have not been seen in LA in at least 14 years. Yeah, that's not that long a time. Maybe look in the history books to see how our ancestors handled it back in 2011.
The real tragedy of people like Bill Maher is that they have enough sense to see this kind of stuff and enough conviction to speak their minds about it, but they don't have enough wisdom to understand that it's baked into the cake of the Democrat Party. All of the things Maher's complaining about are synonymous with big government liberal bureaucrats and always have been. I mean, after all, the government really isn't known for efficient spending or serving as a productive use of tax dollars.
The good news is our fire chief is a lesbian. Am I against a lesbian being chief? Of course not. Do I think a lesbian can do the job? Of course I do. And maybe she's the best person for the job. Or maybe they really wanted a lesbian in that job, and she's just the best lesbian for the job. And with essential services, that's not good enough. Crowley's official bio says Chief Crowley leads a diverse department, creating, supporting, and promoting a culture that values diversity, inclusion, and equity while striving to meet and exceed the expectations of the communities. Well, you didn't exceed my expectations, which was that the whole city wouldn't burn down. But it's telling that diversity is mentioned twice before we get to while striving to meet expectations. Now, can you do 2 things at once? Yes, but it matters where your head is. Deputy Chief Kristen Larson said this.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you.
Which would sound kind of racist if a Southern sheriff said it. Who teaches people this bullshit? No one cares what someone looks like when they're pulling you out of a burning house. Larson also seems to believe that if a female firefighter can't pick up a man, it's his fault. She said, he got himself into the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
You know, complaining about taxes is one thing, but this comment is what really got the radical left's undies in a bunch. Because of course, liberals are tolerant of everyone except those who blaspheme against one of their sacred cows. And in this instance, the blasphemy once again is acknowledging reality.
Because who pays the highest price when politicians don't prioritize basic services? The first responders, our heroes, who every time go above and beyond because they have to, because we leave it all to them. Now, is wokeness the main reason for the fires? Of course not. But it's also not wrong to associate some of the unforced errors our government made with the things normies see as hallmarks of uber-progressive politics: questionable budget priorities, high taxes that get you nothing, making everything about identity politics, virtue signaling overseas instead of tending to the nuts and bolts at home. Cali has no shortage of safety commissions and agencies and bureaucrats and regulators and, of course, sign language interpreters who communicate with their face. Common sense? We better get some of that back soon, because wildfires in California are like boob jobs in a strip club. Inevitable, and they're only going to get bigger.
Yeah, something tells me that Bill isn't going to see common sense return to the left in his lifetime. The whole movement has been accelerating to its inevitable conclusion since Obama took office, and the scars of its failures are too fresh in people's minds, which is why people like Maher have been saying that Democrats are basically on life support at this point, and it might be time for a new party to take its place. Liberals better just hope that it's not based on the same cruddy principles that got them in this predicament in the first place. But let me know what you think. What direction should Democrats move if they want to survive till the next election? Is there even a chance at saving the party at this point? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye!